Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trilokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Vedyagravitam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Jai Guru. Om Sahana Avadhu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So where are we in our text? And Ganesh, would you be our chanter this evening, please?
Sure. We're on page 121, number 13.
Iha bhava vibhava vihina iti. Iha bhava vibhava vihina iti. Iha kama vikama vihina iti. Iha bodhatamam khalu moksha samam. Kimurodhishi manasi sarva samam. Here is the being devoid of existence and non-existence, of desire and desirelessness. Here verily is the highest consciousness identical with freedom. Why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
Yeah. So again, this refrain in this whole section, why do I grieve in my heart? I grieve in my heart because I get re-identified. So the self is beyond the body and beyond any of the kartavya, the obligatory duties of the mind. I must do this, I have to refrain from that. In the end, there's only one thing to renounce, and that's my belief in the reality of the mind. When I stay identified, with the truth. Everything becomes simple. Next one.
Iha tattva nirantara tattvamiti nahi sandhi visandhi vihina iti yadi sarva vivarjata sarva samam yadi sarva vivarjata sarva samam kimurodhishi manasi sarva samam. Here is the truth, undifferentiated by truths, devoid of junction and disjunction. Since it is the same in all and devoid of all, why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So read the first idea for me again.
Here is the truth, undifferentiated by truths, devoid of junction and disjunction.
Okay, and he used the word Sunday and a Sunday there. So that's grammar stuff. So the whole idea here is all of the various rules of study of the scriptures, truth, not truth, all of our ideas. Now, Vedanta is frequently referred to as a non-intellectual path for intellectuals. It teaches us a way of thinking that in the end gets us beyond our thinking. It's so simple in the end. In Gita, Krishna says, the person who casts off all the desires of the mind, I give it up, and is satisfied in the self, by the self, that person is said to be one of steady wisdom. Come home. Next verse.
Aniketa kuti parivara samam iha sangha visangha vihina param iha bodha vibodha vihina param kimurodhishi manasi sarva samam. Here is the supreme, devoid of association and dissociation, unlike a house, cottage, or sheath. Here is the supreme, devoid of knowledge and ignorance. Why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So the whole idea here again is all these distinctions. Unlike a house or a barn, and did you say a sheep?
Sheep.
As in that?
No, sheep, like in where you put your sword.
Oh, a sheep. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have all these ideas of the body is like a house and the soul is inside, or we have in the Upanishads the Panchakosha, the 5 sheaths, and all this sort of stuff. Sometimes I think we're taught all these distinctions to occupy the intellect. while we tune the mind to the infinite, beginning by tuning to the Guru. And then in time, all those distinctions, they don't mean anything. I went to dinner with some friends last night, and I was sharing with them how, after a while, I knew what Swamiji was going to say before he said it. And it was like a long distance away was this man going, blah, 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 body, mind, intellect, perceiver, feel, thinker, BMI, OET, vasanas. But underneath it all was this thunderous silence, this shunya chitta. He was so empty. He would always invite us, meet me there. And in the end, all the blah, blah, blah. One of the disciples comes to him and says, Swamiji, we need to have a talk. What is there to talk about? Talking is stupid. Next verse.
Avikara vikaram satyamiti. Avilaksha vilakshama satyamiti. Yadi kevalam atmani satyamiti. Kimurodhishi manashi sarvasamam. Change and changelessness, the definable and the indefinable, are untrue. If the truth is in the self alone, why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So in the beginning, it's important for us to discriminate between nitya, anitya, avikara, vikara, the changeless and the unchanging, the subject and all the objects. But in the end, sarvam kalvidam dhamma, all this is verily Brahman. No need to resist, fight, defend, protect. Sarvamaya, sarvamananda. All is Maya. All is bliss. Next one.
Iha sarva samam khalu jiva iti. Iha sarva nirantara jiva iti. Iha kevala nischala jiva iti. Kimurodhishi manasi sarva samam. Here verily is the conscious being who's completely the all. Here is the conscious being who's all comprehensive and undivided. Here is the conscious being alone and immutable. Why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So this is a wonderful meditation. The self is not an it. It's a who. One of my favorite terms that we get in Gita is Purushottama. Uttama Purusha. Purusha is a very interesting word. Literally means person. But in Sankhya philosophy, the Purusha is the spirit, matter is Prakriti. But does Purusha mean the individual Jiva? That's what the Sankhya is saying. Or is it another word for the infinite? But the way I like to approach it is you are a person, meaning you're a conscious, sentient being. You are alive. You're Purusha. But what is Uttama Purusha? The ultimate essence of your personness. And we start with what I call the amputation meditation. So if your feet got cut off, would you still be you? Your arms? If you could live by just being a head or a body, where are you? Is your identity dependent on your emotions, history, thoughts? Krishna riffs on this in Gita in the second chapter, the 16th verse, when he talks about Sat and Bhava, existence and being. There's an old Buffy St. Marie song. You may remember this. God is alive, magic is afoot. Do you remember that one?
No.
Oh, it's a great song. God is alive. God is life itself. God is life in you, which is not metabolism, which is not movement, which is not cell division. It's sentience. What is the nature of that sentience? That's what we mean in those three words that we use to point to the infinite. Sat, existence. You are. Chit. You are sentient. You are the conscious being. Ananda, fountainhead of all joy, of all. fact, you are the only sentient being. Only being really exists. If it has no being, it's imagination. Next one.
Aviveka vivekam iti. Avikalpa vikalpam iti. Yadi chaika nirantara bodha iti. Kimurodhishi manasi sarvasamam. It is ignorance to see difference in the undifferentiated. Doubt in what is beyond doubt is ignorance. If there is only the one undivided consciousness, then why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So he says, aviveka, viveka, discrimination, distinction, self, not self. In the end, we don't need to do all this stuff. Right now, when we still get confused, we need to practice discrimination between the real and the unreal, the self and the not-self. But for the one who's rooted in it, you don't need to think about it. Just like for an ordinary person, you don't have to think about having a human body. You don't wake up in the morning, am I still a woman or have I become a man? No. So also, for the person of steady wisdom, always, without effort, I know I am Brahman. And all this is like a dream. No need to fiddle with it, struggle with it, deal with it. It's gone. This is the deep mystic meaning of when Lord Shiva opens his third eye and destroys the world. Doesn't mean everything is reduced to ashes in the sense like the end of the phenomenal universe, like a big crunch after the Big Bang. It means when I was in ignorance, I saw a world of name and form and it was real and consequential. Then the eye of wisdom opened up and there was no world anymore. There was just a picture show. It's virtual reality. Next one.
Nahi mokshapadam, nahi mokshapadam, nahi bandhapadam, nahi punyapadam, nahi papapadam, nahi parnapadam, nahi riktapadam, kimurodhishi manasi sarvasamam. There is no state of liberation, no state of bondage, no state of virtue, no state of vice. There is no state of perfection and no state of destitution. Why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So, the way Yoga Vasishta frames it, both bondage and liberation occur to the mind. The self is ever free. Your self has never been in bondage, and your self never gets liberated. What is my bondage? My bondage is nothing more than the deeply rooted conviction that I'm bound, meaning I think I'm a person. I think I'm my body. There is no other liberation than the deeply rooted conviction that I'm free, meaning rooted in direct experience. I know I am Brahman. Doesn't make me Brahman. Doesn't mean I become Brahman. Doesn't mean I merge into Brahman. I see what's already been. Now, if the mind is ultimately seen to be unreal, then bondage and liberation, as experienced by the mind, is unreal. This helps us deal with a subtle doubt that we get at the end. Am I enlightened or not? Am I realized or not? Is this it? Shouldn't there be more? Who is it who's asking those stupid questions? Don't try to be an enlightened person. If you think you're a person, even an enlightened one, you are a fool. But if I were to ask you, do you know your essential nature? When you look inside in the quiet mind, you see there's just the vast emptiness of pure awareness. News for you. It's the only self you're ever going to know. Yeah, but I wanted to get high. Okay, what you want is worldly pleasure. That's fine. Just tell the truth about it. Do practices that get you high. That's fine. But that's not the same as Atma-Vidya. Whatever practice you do that gets you high, I guarantee you, it will pass. Because all mind states are temporary. The only thing that's not temporary is you. Any thoughts on this? Again, this is not a teaching for beginner or intermediate students. For them, be a mumukshu. strive hard for liberation. But the ego never arrives at it. For the ego to arrive at liberation is like the person who's getting ready to commit suicide. And their thought is, I can't wait to see Aunt Mary at the funeral. She's going to be so upset because she's going to know it's her fault. I can't wait to see that. It's still good. You commit suicide, you won't be at the funeral. If you finish off this foolish idea that I'm a person, there's no one there to be an enlightened person. Remember our four great Mahavakyas, Prajnanam Brahma, Brahman is consciousness. Ayamatma Brahma, the self is Brahman. Tattvamasi, you are that. The fourth one is not Aham Mahatma. I'm a great soul. Aham Muni. What does it say? Aham Brahma. I never was a person. Nityananda. My form is eternal bliss. Next verse.
Yadi varna vivarna vihina samam, yadi karana karya vihina samam, yadi bheda vibheda vihina samam, kimurodhishi manasi sarva samam. If the homogeneous being is devoid of cause and effect, division and subdivision, color and lack of color, then why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So, cause and effect is also unreal. What do we mean by that? In this world, we experience cause and effect. I flip the light switch and the light goes on. I put gas in the car runs. I make dinner, I have something to eat. But in the realm of the self, nothing is caused. Nothing really manifests. There is no cause. And the cause and effect that we experience in this waking state world is imagined. My favorite story to talk about this. I remember having had a dream. I had a flying dream. Do any of you have flying dreams? Yes, no?
Yeah.
In my flying dreams, of course, I'm teaching flying. Flying is controlled falling. It's all in the breath. You go, and everybody levitating. We're going over this forest. Now, in my dream, there was cause and effect. You breathe in this very special way and it lets you fly. it was real to the dreamer. Wake up. I'm sitting in the chair. I'm working this thing. So for some yogis who have so clearly penetrated into the no-thingness of this world, and so clearly know that it's all just vibration held together by thought, then, like the Master Jesus, they can turn water to wine and multiply loaves and fishes, or bring objects out of the air, or teleport from one place to another. Because this world is all consciousness and comes about by means of imagination, sankalpa. Now, you and I may not have great siddhis like these Mahayogis, but I tell you, you have a lot more freedom to change your experience of this world than you think. Change your habituated thinking, and your world will change. Next verse.
Iha sarva nirantara sarvachite. Iha kevala nischala sarvachite. Dipada divivarjita sarvachite. Kimuro dishi manasi sarvasamam. The self is here in the universal consciousness, which is the all and undivided. It is here in the universal consciousness, which is absolute and immovable. It is here in the universal consciousness, which is devoid of men and other beings. Why dost thou hoard the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
Yes. So again, continuing to move on to the idea that all the names and forms, without exception, gross and subtle, are nothing but imagination. What's here as you look out at the world is still, unmoving consciousness. It doesn't really move. The world appears in it like a picture show. Clearest way to understand it is Ramana Maharshi's example. It's dated because we don't have them much anymore, but in old-timey movie projectors, you'd have the lamp, then you'd have the reel with the film on the reels, and then it would shine out of the lens onto the movie screen. Lamp is the light of consciousness, you. The film is your mind. The images on the film are your imaginations, your samskaras, your vasanas. The movie on the film, or the film on the movie, the images out there on the screen is the world I see. Okay, I'm just going to get a pure mind. I'm going to remove all the images. What do you see on the screen? There is no world without the mind. If you're seeing a world, mind is there. That's not problematic. Just don't take it seriously. That's all. Next verse.
Ati sarvanirantara sarvagatam Ati nirmala nischala sarvagatam Dinaratri vivarjita sarvagatam Kimurodishi manashi sarvasamam. The self transcends all, is indivisible and all pervading. It is free from stain of attachment, immovable and all pervading. It is without day and night and all pervading. Why dost thou hoard the identity in all grave in thy heart?
So the self is kutusta, still and immovable like a mountain. Does not rise, does not fall. You need not look for it. It's you. All we need to do is quit believing the mind. And if you do believe the mind for a while, it's just like a dream. You wake up from the dream, you oh, man, was that weird. But you know it's not real. Oh, I had a dream that I screamed and yelled at my sister. Wake up from the dream. Do you need to call your sister up to apologize? Get out of the dream. Get out. Next verse.
Nahi bandha vibandha samagamanam Nahi yoga viyoga samagamanam Nahi tarka vitarka samagamanam Kimurodishi manasi sarvasamam. There is no coming of bondage and freedom from bondage. There is no coming of union and separation. There is no coming of reasoning and disputation. Why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So it's not that I was bound and I am now free. I come to see that I was never bound in the first place. So nahi bandha, and what was the second one?
Nahi yoga viyoga.
Oh yes. So we talk about what is yoga. Yoga means union. What gets united with what? The self does not get united with anything. oh yes, myself is going to be united with Brahman. No. If there is yoga, it's the mind that gets yoked to the infinite because it's given up the world. So you go out to the shore and you see the waves when it's storming, and the storm passes and the sea becomes glassy. Oh, waves are in yoga with the ocean. Where do the waves go? Are the waves any really different substance from the ocean itself? The mind in the end is not something separate from the self. I will frequently show you one of my favorite images of Lord Hanuman embracing Lord Ram, the mind yoked to the self. In a way that's not true, because it looks like, Hanuman's different than Ram. They're together now. Words fall short. When the waves subside, are they in union with the ocean? When they were waving, were they ever really separated from the ocean? So the woman of wisdom gives up concerns with bondage and liberation, yoga, not yoga, even tuning up the mind and not tuning up. Now listen carefully. You cannot give up something you don't have. These very advanced texts say give up meditation, give up samadhi, give up even yoga, the mind retiring into this. Yeah, give it up after you've achieved it. Otherwise, you rationalize your suffering. So it's what I call the Vedanta logic loop. It's all an illusion. It's all mind states, so it doesn't matter. So I think I'll go out and hook up every night with a different person and smoke a little dope and get drunk every weekend and not meditate and just enjoy the world. Then I get a phone call. I'm suffering. I'm suffering. Oh, don't worry. It's an illusion. Been very useful at that point. Can't renounce something you don't have. So attain to yoga rudha, mount the steed of the mind. Get established in samadhi. Achieve mature vairagya. Now give it up. Meaning, don't be attached to it. and only share with you my direct experience. I can meet someone and they can have the God talk down. Vedanta, 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 Vedanta. And then when I check out the set of their soul, a good person perhaps, but still a desirer of desires. Oh, but it's just delusion. And I'll meet someone else. They may be a housewife, a grandmother. Tune up. Oh, man. It's what Shankara says, being a full knower of the Supreme, who has retired into the Supreme, who is not afflicted by desire, who is as calm as a fire that has burned up its fuel. Don't settle for less. Next verse.
Iha kala vikala nirakaranam anumatra krishanu nirakaranam nahi kevala satya nirakaranam kimurodhishi manasi sarvasamam. Here is the negation of time, untime, and even the atom of fire, but no negation of the absolute truth. Why dost thou hoard the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So time, cause, all the various things of this world. Brahma Satyam Jagan Nitya. Brahman alone is real. All phenomena, without exception, illusory. I mean, what it is Brahman. The world is. What it is Brahman. It's the constant play of the names and forms. It's like a kaleidoscope that you turn. Very cool to see. Just the play, light, shape, color. Oh. Next verse.
Iha deha videha vihina iti tanu swapna sushupti vihina param abhidhana vidhana vihina param kimurodhishi manasi sarvasamam. Here is the self devoid of body and disembodiment. Here verily is the Supreme One, devoid of dream and deep sleep. Here is the Supreme One, devoid of name and injunctions. Why dost thou hoard the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So we can't say that we are embodied or not embodied. Krishna is very clear about this in Gita. At first, he says, all this is strung on me like gems on a thread. Oh, the self is in you, the self is in you, the self is in you. That's nice. But then later on, he says, actually, I am not in them. They are in me. Yes, all the names and forms, things and beings are in consciousness. And he goes on to say, well, actually, they are not really in me. If I visualize an elephant, is the elephant really in me? There's no elephant, Jim. It's an imagination. All the bodies, all the feelings, all the thoughts, all the images, all the memories. If you can see it, it's not real. But you are real. You. Next verse. Ganesh, how many more do we have in this section? We've got about 10 more minutes.
5 or 6.
I think we can finish. All right.
Gaganopama Shuddha Vishala Samam Ati Sarva Vivarjita Sarva Samam Gata Sara Viksara Vikara Samam Kimuro Dishimanasi Sarva Samam. Pure, vast, and homogeneous like the sky. The self is the same in all and devoid of all. It is the homogeneous being divested of essence, non-essence, and change. Why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
Yes. So here he compares it to the sky, Gagana. Clouds, birds, airplanes appear in the sky. The sky is not touched by them. So also name and form, waking, dream, deep sleep, past, present, future, gross, subtle, causal, all occur in me. But I'm never touched by them. Next one.
Iha dharma vidharma viragataras. Iha dharma vidharma viragataram iha vastu viragataram. Iha kama viragataram. Kimuro dishimanasi sarva samam. Here is the self, which is more than dispassionate to virtue and vice, to substance and non-substance, to desire and desirelessness. Why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
Again, the self in me is untouched by all the dream-like movements of this world. Joys and sorrows, gains and losses, successes and failures. Enjoy. Let's see what's really going on. Don't let everything go. Get little-minded. And if you do get little-minded, don't worry, it will pass. You'll wake up again. Next one.
Sukha dukkha vivarjita sarvasamam iha shoka vishoka vihina param guru shishya vivarjita tattva param kimuro dishimanasi sarvasamam. Here is the self, the same in all, which is without grief and grieflessness. Here is the supreme without happiness and sorrow. The supreme truth is devoid of teacher and disciple. Why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So what is happiness and sorrow? When the situation is conducive, interpreted by the mind according to its past, it's happy. If the situation is not conducive, meaning it doesn't comport with my stupid, repetitive attachments, I'm unhappy. That's all it is. It's a mechanical response. I don't even know if docs do this anymore. Mine hasn't. You go to the doctor and they tell you to cross your legs, and they take the little hammer with the rubber thing on the end and they bang on your knee and your foot goes like that. What do they call that procedure, Mark?
A reflex.
Yeah. But it's always very cool. They hit your knee with a little hammer and you're not doing it, but your leg just goes boing. You ever had that done, you younger people? Do they do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all there is to your stupid mind. Conducive situation, boing. Ah! Non-conducive situation. Boo! It's all there is to it. It's mechanical. It's just mechanical. And half the time what I like isn't even the good, it's just the familiar. It's a reflex. That's all it is. Just don't take it seriously. Next one.
Nakilankura sara visara iti nachala chala samya visamyamiti avichara vichara vihinamiti kimuro dishimanasi sarvasamam. Verily, there is no offshoot, essence, or absence of essence. Neither is there the movable nor the immovable, sameness nor variety. The self is devoid of reason and unreason. Why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So all these various techniques of practice, the jnana abhyasa, are of value at a certain level. But in the end, Krishna says, when the mind stands immovable in the face of what has been heard and what has not been heard, and it all becomes blah, blah. and you have steady wisdom. One more?
3 more.
3 more. Okay, keep going.
Ihasara samuchaya saramiti kathitam nija bhava vibheda iti vishaye karanatpama satyamiti kimuro dishimanasi sarvasamam. Here is the essence, the concentration of all essences, which is said to be different from one's individual consciousness. To be the instrument of the perception of objects is unreal. Why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So he's again kind of riffing on what we get in the Mandukya Upanishad Karika, where Gaudapada says in the 2nd chapter, the phenomenal world is unreal. The proof of its unreality is that it is seen. Give up concern for the knowable and abide as the knower. Next one.
Bahudha shrutayah pravadanti yato vyadaviradam mrigato yasamam yadi chaika nirantara sarvasamam kimuro dishimanasi sarvasamam. Since the Vedas have declared variously like this universe made of ether and the like is like a mirage, and since the self is one, indivisible and the same in all, why dost thou, who art the identity in all, grieve in thy heart?
So again, this universe is like a mirage. So we have these 2 great metaphors, snake in the rope, mirage waters in the desert. Snake in the rope is like nirvikalpa samadhi. When I apprehend the rope, the snake is not available for experience. Oh, it's a rope. Cool. There's no snake around. In nirvikalpa samadhi, no universe, no individuality. The mind returns from nirvikalpa. I get it. But mirage waters in the desert is like what we call sahaja samadhi, natural or continuous samadhi. When I'm in the state of ignorance, my perception is water and my knowledge is water. I keep on driving. I see the water recede, and then I have the deep understanding. Oh, very cool. Looks like water, but it's heat waves off the desert. My senses continue to report to me water, but my knowledge is sand. So also, for the person of knowledge functioning in the world still appears, but their knowledge is pratibimba, like a reflection in the mirror. And one more, the last verse.
Vindati vindati nahi nahi atra chando lakshanam nahi nahi tatra samara samagno bhaviti puta pralapati tattvam paramavadhuta. Where one knows nothing, there is verily no versification. The supreme and free one, pure of thought, absorbed in the consciousness of the homogeneous being, prattles about the truth.
Yes. Now I love it. So he ends with an absolutely beautifully poetic metrical verse. It says in the end, no verse. And for the Avadhuta, the person of knowledge, the best that she can do is to have to live about the truth. Because in the end, it is beyond words. I think this is what the Master Jesus meant when he said, come unto me, all you who travail and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. At the end of the chapter, is there a little Upanishad?
That's it.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Namaha.